is Alejandro Adame, and I'm a research member for the thinking team group known as Webi. Today I will explain a brief history of Somalia's background as a failing economy and discuss why it is the home to some of the worst humanitarian crises in the world. I will also explain how socio-economic development can be successful in progressing Somalia and why change must be made. Today's Somalia can be seen as an enormous example of a failed state for many reasons. For starters, Somalia lacks a central government that doesn't enforce democracy amongst its people. It also currently has several groups controlling different parts of its country, with Al-Shabaab being the largest group controlling the majority of Somali territory. Conflicts over territory within Somalia dates back to the Cold War era between two known superpowers. In 1974, dictator Siad Barre rose to power in Somalia, thus sparking new trouble in eastern Africa. One situation that allowed the United States to intervene was being a failed Somali invasion of eastern Ethiopia in 1977 to gain control of the Somali-speaking Ogaden region. The U.S. saw this failed attempt as a golden opportunity. The U.S. allied with dictator Barre as a strategic plan to gain approval of Western involvement in the Horn of Africa. Under Barre, the United States military was allowed access to the Red Seas and Suez Canal, which allowed U.S. trade. U.S. oil corporations also made billions of dollars in contracts, and economy progress in Somalia vastly decreased. Somalia did not receive anything in return. This was the start of a weakening state. By 1991, Somalia was faced with the horrible famine that had taken 300,000 Somali lives. By late 1991, UN officials estimated that 4.5 million Somalis faced large amounts of food shortages. Up to 25% of Somali's children under 5 had died in response to the famine. Meanwhile, the U.S. had begun to withdraw aid from Barre, shortly before he was overthrown. The overthrowing of Barre led to the rise of warlords who sought out to control all of Somalia. Somalia currently ranks at the bottom of virtually all human development measurements, from life expectancy to infant mortality. Since 1991, the country has been faced with civil war, which is fueled by U.S. support for various sides in the conflict. Somalia today is home to one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world, with ongoing poverty and millions displaced within the Horn of Africa. It is important that socio-economic development is sought out in order for Somalia to progress forward. If Somali people were taught how to govern themselves with a democratic system and how to properly respond to security threats and seek support by IGOs, then Somalia can begin to change. However, this can only be done with the help of NGOs willing to educate safety, peace, and hope. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Martha and I'm going to discuss participatory development in Somalia. The authors of Stabilizing Somalia through Integrating Community-Driven Safety with Socioeconomic Development points out one organization who's engaged at a local community level, the Danish Refugee Council. The organization has started integrating 2 community-driven programs in Somaliland based on the community's expressed needs. The objective is to address factors that produces insecurity and therefore hinders development. This could be about unexploded ammunition, armed violence, internal conflict, or the lack of a functioning police. In total, the organization has now delivered firearm safety and mine risk education to a total of 40,000 Somali people. According to an evaluation of the program, which is done in cooperation with the Danish Demining Group, the programs have had a positive impact. 3 out of 4 Somali people said that the program has reduced conflict in the villages. Fear of weapons and landmine accidents was reduced from 34% to 8%, and there is a 31% increase in community trust in the police. In a country with no democracy, there are few forums where people can express their needs. If the programs really are working towards the needs of the people, regardless your social status or gender, it can be viewed as a democratic process, which can make the Somali people feel more included in the decision of their lives. According to Global Perspectives by Keller and Klein, the basic factors of participatory development is that it has to be designed to meet basic needs, and second, local people who will benefit and maintain the projects must participate by making decisions and provide labor. Third, local resources and technologies that do not cause harm to the natural environment must be used. The research on the programs show that the local workforce are being used, both women and men, but the study lacked information and in what extent the organization are including the local people in decision making, and it's therefore difficult to evaluate if they really are working by the principles they claim they are. Also, there are still many challenges concerning safety in Somalia that the programs do not touch in a great extent. One of the most important ones is unemployment. According to The Guardian, 75% of young people in Somaliland are unemployed, which make people fall into a criminal path. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Blake Armas, and I am a researcher for the Webi think tank. Today, I will be discussing major NGO groups working in Somalia and ways that they can help better the situation. The Friends of Somalia and the Somali American Community Association started a campaign in July 2009 called Save Somalia, Humanitarian and Refugee Awareness Campaign. According to the organizations, the campaign is designed to be the voice for the Somalis who are suffering and save their lives. They also aim to educate the public and get people involved in their cause through student clubs and collaborating with large companies and organizations to expand their resources. Like many campaigns, the Save Somalia provides healthcare and food for refugees to keep them healthy. However, they can help in many other ways on top of that. For example, organizations can educate Somalis on how to start their own small businesses to make money and help out their deteriorating economy. Unemployment and extreme poverty are huge issues in Somalia, therefore the citizens would greatly benefit from being taught how to start up a business and allow people to work and make money. Local trade would also be stimulated because villages would have a variety of goods to offer. Over time, adults would teach their children about what they know about trade and running a business, which will keep the family businesses and economy going for generations. On top of these skills, the NGOs can also promote safety throughout the villages. They can provide streetlights so people can see at night and not be left walking in the dark, and they can help the Somalis establish a group that promotes safety, much like a neighborhood watch group. Yes, providing healthcare, food, and clean water is essential to helping these people, but if the organization sending aid can help them with these skills for their future generations, the benefits will be much longer lasting. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dalton McLaughlin, and I'm the co-leader of the Webi think tank. Although our article by Tor R. Hamming discusses how to stabilize Somalia through socio-economics, I want to take a completely different approach on the Islamic terrorist group in Somalia. According to BBC, Al-Shabaab is comprised of 7,000 to 9,000 members throughout all of Somalia. This militant group is currently in charge of most rural areas in Somalia and still poses a threat to Somali people. According to UPI.com, Al-Shabaab has recently shown its dangerous capabilities with bombings such as the Westgate Mall incident and with its alliance with Al-Qaeda. Personally, I feel like the lack of government is allowing the militant group to gain power that would have never been achieved if a stable government had been present in Somalia in the first place. Although the Hamming article states that international engagement is highly restricted with Al-Shabaab ever since the assassination of former leader Aydin Aro in 2008, I believe it is time that the international action becomes necessary to stop the Islamic terrorist group. I'm ultimately proposing that an allied force declares war on Al-Shabaab in and outside of Somalia. Even though America has taken a slight initiative with its surprise drone attacks against this group, it seems to me that it is not enough to fully get rid of the group. This will be a quote-unquote war on terror, much like the one fought against Al-Qaeda, but the tactics will be different and more effective in this one. I'm suggesting that the U.S. military will form strong alliances with Somalia, Kenya, and Ethiopian militaries. In a sense, this alliance would be able to form a barrier outside of the borders of Somalia, and thus it would be impossible for the group to expand outside of Somalia. This would ensure that Al-Shabaab would no longer expand outside of Somalia. This newly formed alliance has the potential to be very dangerous and very large in numbers. Its primary goal would be to outnumber and outpower the terrorist group. If Al-Shabaab leader Mukhtar Ali Zubair, more commonly known as Godane, does not surrender to this military force, then this powerful allied forces will declare war. Al-Shabaab will ultimately be given a choice to fight or to surrender. Either way, the potential of an alliance with Kenya, Ethiopia, Somalia, and the United States will eliminate this threatening terrorist group. This war on terror in Somalia will benefit the economic and well-being of the Somali people. If everything goes as planned, Somalia will be able to truly begin with a new slate. With the help of NGOs and IGOs, Somalia should be able to form a new government and a new economic foundation, knowing that the country is safe from terror. If this exoskeleton of a plan is to be carried out accordingly, I believe hope will finally be restored in Somalia. Thank you.